Hey everyone, Joel Irway here, and welcome to day 20 of my daily video blog, how to launch a 6- and 7-figure product from scratch. And guess what, guys? Momentum is moving forward. Sales momentum is moving forward. I doubled my sales yesterday, increased my sales 100%, right? Doubled my sales yesterday, and I got a couple more people in the pipeline that said they wanted to buy. Just got to work out some issues. Somebody wants to buy through PayPal. Another person, they want to hop on the phone real quick. So I've got him talking to one of my coaches. But we're moving forward. We are doing some awesome things, and I'm excited to share it with you because there's some really cool things that I want you to know as you start to launch your products and services. So today, before we jump into looking into the funnel, looking into my ads, and looking into what I did yesterday to drive more sales, I want to talk to you about a really, really important lesson. This is one that was confirmed yesterday as I made more sales. And this is all about drinking your own Kool-Aid. So what do I mean by drinking your own Kool-Aid? Well, if you think about it, we've all got these products and services that we're selling and we're promoting that we love, right? Most of us are in some sort of transformational business, whether you're helping people build a business or you're helping people, maybe you're in the dog walking niche and you're helping people, you're showing them how to do, how to train your pet, or, you're in the self-help niche or some sort of transformation. You're trying to get your customer a personal result. Well, here's something that is super, 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 super important. Many of us get stuck in this world of I need to build a funnel and I need to drive traffic to it and sales will come out the end. It's like, well, yes, that's true. And that's where your starting point is. But people love to watch you as the authority use your own product or service and get results with your own product or service. So yesterday I woke up and I'm helping a buddy of mine with his webinar. And so, as you know, I'm launching my podcast, Sold with Webinars. It's coming out very, very soon. So make sure you go to soldwithwebinars.com and register or sign up for the mailing list. I haven't even created it yet, but go check out soldwithwebinars.com soon, and you'll see my podcast. But anyway, so my buddy Steve Olsher is helping me launch this podcast and helping me promote it and some promotional strategies. And so I was connected to him a while ago by another mutual friend, and he's got a webinar that he wants to take off. And so I was helping consult with him, and I was like, hey, try this. But eventually there's only so much that you can do when you consult. And for him, he needed to completely redo the webinar. So I said, Steve, let me make you an offer. Like, I will build you a new webinar from scratch if you help get me on some other podcasts and help me launch my podcast. He goes, dude, 100%, let's do it. So I woke up yesterday and I'm like, shit, like I gotta build his webinar, right? So I'm like, how can I get the most out of this experience with building this webinar? And so a light bulb went off and I'm just like, well, why don't I show my audience how I build webinars from scratch? Because everybody's always asking me, how do I build webinars? And even though I've got training, like, I think people would find a ton of value with me starting from scratch and building a webinar from scratch. And it's an opportunity for me to promote SlideSell, because SlideSell allows me to build this so freaking quick that, like, people will really understand. They'll get that aha moment themselves as they listen to me as I go through the thought process. And so that's what I did. So inside of my Experts Unleashed private Facebook group, which is free, by the way, you should go join, which I think there's a link on Sold with Webinars as well. So inside my Experts Unleashed Facebook group, I sent out a message saying, hey, how many of you want to see me build a webinar from scratch? I got a ton of response. And so I set a time and I'm like, okay, at 3 p.m., I'm going to log on and we'll do a Facebook live training. You guys will watch me build a webinar from scratch. And we had a bunch of people on, and it went better than I could have ever imagined. And so I'm going through it and I'm building this webinar and I'm talking to them and I'm talking out loud of all my thoughts, and I'm saying, okay, in the introduction, here's what I'm thinking. Here's the psychology behind what I'm thinking. And, like, here's my information. How do I frame it in a way that will get my audience to really find value? And so as I'm talking through it and I'm building it and I'm using SlideSell, my audience is going nuts. Like, oh, this is awesome. This is great, right? And so it went for like an hour and a half. And I was exhausted, but I got this recording now. I've got my webinar built, most of the webinar built, and my audience saw me use SlideSell. They're like, how do I use it? Like, how do I go buy it? So at the end, I'm just like, hey, go to this link, join the webinaraccelerator.com/go, and you can get access to SlideSell, and you can get access to all my training, and boom. And so at the end, like I had one person sign up immediately, like 4 other people messaged me saying, "Hey, how can I join?" And it's just like when you see people, when you as the expert drink your own Kool-Aid, right? So my own Kool-Aid is helping people build sales presentation webinars, right? So when my audience sees me build webinars from scratch, it gets them excited and it gets them like having their own epiphany moments, having their own aha moments of like, wow, like this is really a big deal. And so it gets them excited. It gets, when they see me excited about my product, they get excited and they want to follow me. They want to build their own webinars. They want to make money with their own webinars. And yeah, that's what happened. And so like I didn't run a webinar. All I did was just a off the cuff training. It was unscripted, uncut, and people saw the down and dirty efforts that it takes for me to build a webinar for somebody. And they saw me use SlideSell and again, it's just another opportunity for me to promote my product. They see me use it. I give them a ton of value because I'm sharing with them all of the thoughts inside of my head when I'm building a brand new webinar from scratch. And anyway, I wanted to share that with you because if you're out there and you're launching your own product, you need to drink your own Kool-Aid. Like people need to see you drink your own Kool-Aid. It is so effective and so important. Like I may do $5,000 in sales from that live webinar. So I'm getting the benefits of helping out my buddy Steve. So he's helped me promote my product. I built his webinar and my audience saw me build a webinar. So it's like a win-win-win all around. And so anyway, I wanted to share that with you before we jump into that because you guys need to be drinking your own Kool-Aid. Drink your own Kool-Aid. Okay. So let's jump into stats, right? So for the past couple of days, I've been running traffic to my auto webinar, so to my free training, my training that runs top of the hour every single day. And so I want to show you what the stats are. We've had about 114 people come through, 64 people registered for the webinar, so we had a 56% registration rate. Most of that came from my list. I think I had about 7 people who came from cold traffic, and I'll show you those stats in just a second. So I actually probably need to reset these stats because warm traffic versus cold traffic, like they're going to perform much differently in terms of conversion rates. So I also need to split test my landing page. So anyway, but bottom line is I just needed to get this up and running and live and start building my list and inviting people into my group. So that's what I was doing. But anyway, overall, 56% conversion rate on my landing page, not too shabby. And so as we go through the funnel, for those of you, if this is the first time you're looking at the funnel, basically I'm trying to liquidate my ad costs. So I'm running paid traffic, and immediately after they register for the webinar, I give them an offer for a recording of one of my trainings. So a separate recording, a separate training. It's a webinar breakdown call. So I literally broke down somebody's webinar in an hour, and I 10x their sales from that 1 hour call. So I'm selling that for $37, and so far nobody has purchased it, right? So that's a big red flag for me. I think on average, like 5 to 10% of the people who register for the webinar should purchase this offer. And so far nobody has purchased it. So I want to focus on this today and just kind of look at this and see if this is something that people actually want. Excuse me. So when you think about one-time offers and you think about when you think about offers that people want, right? So you have to think about like the natural progression of where they're coming in. So I'm running an ad to them saying, "Hey, I've got this free training for how to build highly effective sales webinars," right? So join my workshop, get access to register for the training, and I'll see you there. So they register for the training. They know they're getting access to learning about webinars. So I'm trying to think what the next natural progression is for them. And so I learned this from Russell Brunson. But like, you need to make sure that I'm not, and I think this is where I'm missing the boat, but you need to make sure that you're not like giving them more of the same. And so my angle here was trying to get them to avoid the most common webinar mistakes for your fastest success. So like when people build their webinar the first time, I know a lot of their common mistakes. And so I want to frame that as my offer. So when they build their webinar, they can avoid the most common mistakes. But obviously it's not resonating with them right now. So I need to change the angle. I think the design's fine. It's a little ugly, but I'm going to be hiring a designer in a little bit to kind of make this all sexy and make it look a lot better. But Want to avoid the common mistakes most people make with their first webinars? Watch me over the shoulder as I 10x Daryl and Andrew's webinar in 1 hour. So something's not resonating with them. I don't know exactly what it is. I have to dive a little bit deeper, but I had 65 people visit this page, which lines up pretty well with my registration rate. And how many people went to the actual order form? So I had 10 people go to the order form. So 10 out of 65, basically 1 out of 6 or 1 out of 7, but nobody purchased. Okay, so yeah. Anyway, I'll let it go for a couple more days and see what happens. But yeah, it's not converting right now. So that's going to be one of my things on my to-do list to help optimize this funnel, right? So I can liquidate the ad cost. That $37 is supposed to help offset my ad cost for running ads every single day. So essentially, any sales that I make after that are free. Any of my $9.97 sales are free. And I can start to scale my traffic up and not worry about the ad cost. So there's a really cool strategy about that. So anyway, after that, then they go to the broadcast room and they watch it and they buy or they don't buy. So I don't have enough data for how the presentation is doing yet, but right now I'm focusing on the OTO. So that's that. No sales on the OTO, but I have a couple sales on my $9.97 from drinking my own Kool-Aid. So let's look at my ads, okay? So yesterday, these are my ads for my ad sets for the cold traffic webinar. And I had 7 people from cold traffic register. And so what I do is I learned this from a guy named Travis Stevenson, who I interviewed on my Sold with Webinars podcast. So you should go check that out. His podcast episode is, I think, episode number 2, and that was awesome. We actually had to break it down into 2 episodes because he just shared so much, so much knowledge. But he's a traffic guy and a webinar guy, and he shared with me his strategy, which was basically test at a $5 a day ad set budget, test as many different audiences as you can think of, and after a day, kill the ones that don't convert and keep the ones that do. So that's what I did. I tested 24 different audiences, lookalike audiences, at $5 a day, and I think I had 18 of those not convert, and then 6 of those did convert. So I kept the 6 that were giving me these registrations here. So I had this one gave me 2, all the other ones gave me 1. So my cost per lead was anywhere from $2.50 to $5.50. Okay, so I kept those, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to duplicate these. So I'll probably duplicate them 3 or 4 at a time. So each one of these will get duplicated 3 times, and I'll see if I can start to scale up the traffic with the audiences that are working, and see if those numbers hold true. So I keep doing that, and I'll scale up my budget, and we'll go from there. But anyway, these are good KPIs. So I like to shoot for like under $10, and these are under $10. So we'll see if this will hold true for the next day or so, and we'll go from there. But it looks like I found my audiences that are working, and we'll go from there. So that is what is happening in my world, and those are my stats. Full disclosure, I want, like I said before, you are looking to see how everything is shaping up. And yeah, so I got 2 sales, got probably 3 more that are in the pipeline that are really, really warm, really hot. And we'll go from there. So keep pushing, everyone. This is what it takes. So I've made $2,000, $2,400 in sales so far. And we're ready to rock and roll. I'm ready to scale up. I'm ready to start getting my first sales on my OTO. I'll keep tweaking that because once I get my OTO working, everything else is just freaking gravy. So, okay, guys. So I'll catch you on the flip side, and we'll see you on day 21. Take care.